Hey there and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome to my channel and thank you so much for being here. Okay, so today's video is something totally related to the stuff that I usually talk about. I feel like I'm ready to talk about it because it is kind of a sore subject for me. It's not something that I love talking about. As the title says, I dropped out of high school when I was 16 years old. That's not exactly the wisest decision. By no means would I call it the best thing I've ever done in my life. However, I think it helped me turn out to be the person that I am today. School for me was never easy. It still is not easy for me. This is kind of a big thing for me to talk about because I don't love admitting this. It's been something that I've dealt with and been very embarrassed about in a lot of ways. I have a learning disability. I have always struggled when it comes to academics. I never in my life considered myself to be smart. I still have a hard time calling myself smart. I went to a high school that was half meant for kids with learning disabilities, half meant for kids with like behavioral issues. I had no idea anything about this school until like 1 or 2 weeks before I went. All I knew is that a bunch of my friends were going. I wanted to go too. I was pretty much a goody two-shoes up until this point. That's when I like met friends who would like skip and then I would skip. I think part of me was doing it definitely because I wanted to be like my friends. But I think a lot of the reason I just didn't go was because even though I was at a school to help me, I never ever felt really that comfortable talking to a teacher if I didn't understand things. And I wasn't understanding the way that I should have been understanding. I just didn't care, but I know that I wasn't in a position to care. I would skip my science class to go into another science class where everything was definitely like more hands-on, and I really loved it. I really enjoyed learning that way, but the class that I was put in was with a teacher who often would just read out of a book and we would have to like take notes. And for me, that just like never worked. I think it was 11th grade. I just stopped going. I just stopped going to class. I would stay home. You know, both my parents would like work during the day too, so they wouldn't really understand or know that I wasn't going until one day, I think the principal called my mom or something and just like wondering where the hell I was. We all sat down and they were just like, listen, you have not been showing up to class. Your track record is not that great. You have been suspended many times. You're kind of a nuisance. At this point, they just basically wanted me gone. They gave the option to show that I was expelled or that I had quit. And I chose quitting because I felt like that was better. And I didn't even really have the intention to go at that point, and I had already talked with my mom about it, and she made me promise that I would just try one more semester, and if I really hated it, then I could make that decision because I was 16 at this point. I could make that choice. And when I was called in, I just decided that's it. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I felt a huge relief. At the same time, I felt a huge sadness because it was a very big part of my life that was coming to a close. Even looking back, it is a big part of my life that I still feel very sad about because I didn't get to have a lot of the experiences that I think would have been really great for me. You know, I was 16, I was still really young. I quit, and it was, you know, a stipulation upon quitting that if I was going to do that, I had to start working. I wasn't just gonna sit at home and do nothing. So I started my first full-time job at 16 years old too, and you know, that was really stressful for me. I mean, as it would be for any 16-year-old, right? So I went right into working and just continued to work for a few years until I started to realize that the things that I wanted out of life meant that I needed to go back to school. I had felt when I quit at 16, that was it, that was fine. I was never gonna have to do it again. I could have convinced myself of anything at the time if it meant getting out of high school. I was being bullied a lot too. Kids were horrible. Like, I was like the target of this one dude, and anytime he would see me, it was just like something went off in his head that he was like, I need to make fun of that one. And I was the fat one out of my friends too, so I was always getting like picked on. And now, I mean, as an adult, I don't really care as much. It doesn't hurt as much, but I can absolutely remember what that felt like to me at 16. It was so hard. I was self-harming as well because I didn't feel like anything was gonna get better. I honestly think quitting was the right decision for me. I call it my favorite mistake. I don't know who I would be today if I had completed high school. I think that I was also around some really awful people, and it was actually good that the rest of those formative years for me, I wasn't around that environment, because I really think that could have made me an entirely different person than I am today. I'm really proud of who I am today. I'm proud of, you know, all that I've accomplished for myself and the ways that I value things, the way that I really do value education now. I feel like I'm always gonna cry when I talk about this. I never really got the help to learn how to deal with my learning disability. I never got the tools. When I feel very, very overwhelmed and stressed, especially when it comes to any sort of academics, I just beat myself up, unfortunately. I really wish I had a college degree under my belt. I have gone for Con Ed classes, and I am a life skills coach. I tell myself sometimes when I'm feeling like really beat up and down that doesn't count because I was Con Ed, and you know, I was good at it as a fluke. Like, I genuinely have a hard time calling myself smart. Or I feel like if someone thinks I'm smart, it's only really a matter of time until I realize I'm just kind of like fooling everyone. I do really, really, really value education so much. I have always loved working with people. I always have known since I was super young that I wanted to help people in some capacity, and that's why I love YouTube so much, because it allows me to do that. And I feel like I have the tools to do that in a way that really matters to me too. But I would love to go back and have the credentials to walk into a place and get a job and land a job and be like, I know what I'm doing, I'm qualified to do this, and I also worked my ass off to get this diploma, you know. And it's just, as I get older, it becomes more and more scary. It's tough, and I sometimes feel like I'm not on par with other people. I learned while I was going to take my life skills coaching certificate that there are just different ways of learning. There is only one style of learning practiced in most schools. And yes, you can have teachers who do things that are experimental, but for the most part, it is all designed to fit one style of learning. And that style does not apply to everyone. Even though I just sat there saying that I feel like I'm not very smart, I have to remind myself constantly that just because my style of learning is different and didn't exactly work the best in high school or school in general, does not mean that I'm necessarily stupid. It means that I just learn differently, and that's not less important or less, you know, valid than someone else's. There's so many of us who just lose our spark because there are very, very few options for us. I genuinely crave so hard to be able to just understand and absorb information in a way that would make me excel in school and not have this like crippling anxiety that just overwhelms me when I look at something and I just cannot understand. And I wish that I could push past that point, but unfortunately right now I don't know how, because I don't have the tools that I need. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap that up. I'm feeling pretty emotional now after talking about that. Please like, comment, subscribe, and really do let me know if this helped you at all. It would mean a lot to me. Anyways, bye. It just really fit my aesthetic. I was kind of bummed that I didn't get to take advantage when I had my GwennyB subscription. They did have some sort of promotional offer going on where I guess they were sending it to people who no longer wanted to do their GwennyB anymore. I got to do like a scratch and win, and I got 1 free month plus a free gift, which I don't really know what the free gift was, but I'll figure that out. I figured I'd just take advantage, even though this is the only box I'm able to get because I do leave in a few days. So anyways, I'm just gonna quickly review